Now, what is the marketing challenge? The marketing challenge is, let me start from here. John Wanamaker in around 1880s said that half the money I spend in advertising is wasted. The only trouble is I don't know which half. Now, why would he say that? Let's take a second question. Marketers generate leads, but do they really generate revenue? We aren't so sure about it. So where is the disconnect? Think about it. It's a multi-billion-dollar problem. Throughout the world, folks use lots of marketing avenues to generate leads. They generate leads using SEO, they generate leads using AdWords, using direct marketing, email marketing, so on and so forth. But why does this question remain unanswered? Google AdWord is one of the world's leading platform for advertising and online marketing. So let us get a little more details into it. The Google AdWords platform tells us information about the what, which is very marketing specific. It tells us information about the clicks, the cost, the impressions, the cost per acquisition, so on and so forth. But the CRM system tells us information about the who, which is sales specific. It tells us information about who are the leads who came in, the information about those leads, the various sales stages, the details of the account, so on and so forth. Sales follows up with those leads which are in CRM to generate revenue. But are they the same leads? This is a difficult question to answer because typically the sales team works separately on their own and they have a set of leads that they follow up with. The marketing generates leads, but is there a connection between these two? There isn't, because somewhere the button is actually dropped. Now let us go back and see how this drop actually happens. Now Google AdWords helps us place ads on the World Wide Web. We buy a set of keywords, we generate some ads for those keywords, and based on how much we bid, we get to place our ads on the web on a specific geography, a specific location, or worldwide also. Now when someone clicks on that particular ad, the person comes to the website. And then what happens? When he comes to the website or to the form, we expect him to give us some information and get added to the CRM system. So typically it's a form when the person fills up and then the information gets passed to the CRM system. But does it really pass all the information? It does not. There is a break in relay of information from the data that is passed from the landing page to the CRM system. Now, what is that break? The break is there is no connectivity between the source of the lead and data which gets stored in the CRM system. And that is what, there is no relation between the Google data and the CRM data. And that is where Zoho has come up with a solution. And the solution is by fixing the flow of information relay from the AdWords to the website to the form and into the CRM system. Now, the secret sauce behind this is called as enabling auto tagging. Now, I will show you how this is done in the product. Now, this is how a typical AdWords setup looks like. We have some campaigns. There's, in this case, a campaign called Interiors. And this particular campaign has a few more. Okay. Now this campaign has a set of ad groups. I'm having some technical issues here. It has a set of ad groups, and those ad groups have a set of keywords in the system. So this, let's go back again. This is the campaign interiors. This particular campaign has a set of ad groups. There's one ad group for now. It's called interior design, and then it has a set of keywords: contemporary interiors, retro interiors, so on and so forth. Ethnic interiors also. Now this is the information that you have in the AdWords system, and this is the ad that one gets to see when one searches for the term ethnic interiors or any of these keyword sets. And so that is about the AdWords platform part. Now, in order to link the AdWords platform with the CRM system, Zoho CRM system, what we need to do is to go to the settings tab and choose the apps and add-on section as shown here, highlighted in red. And we click on the apps and add-ons Google Apps link, and this is the screen that we get. Now this is the screen where we start relating the CRM system with the AdWords system. So what do? We first authenticate ourselves by passing the credentials of the Google AdWords system. So this is how we authenticate, by providing the details of the Google AdWords system. And then we are able to map the various accounts available in the AdWords system, which we need to be tracked in the CRM system. Now please note, I'll come back to this part a little later. This is called as the export conversions to Google AdWords. I'll be covering this in the offline conversions slide, but just for sake of explanation, now these are the fields which will be sent back to Google with the names, column names, Zoho CRM leads / contacts, Zoho CRM lead qualifications, and Zoho CRM sales. So I will be explaining this a little more detail in the subsequent slides. Now, once we enable linkage of the Google AdWords account with the CRM system, we would actually be technically in the back end. What happens is we'll be enabling something called auto tagging, and this is the details that are mapped directly as a result of this integration with CRM. Now, if you notice, there are the campaign ID fields, the ad group ID fields, the ad ID fields, so on and so forth. In the earlier slide, I had talked about the what and the who. So this is the point where we are able to relate both of them together, and the Google AdWords data starts getting linked with the CRM data in order to answer the question as to did sales follow up on the leads generated by marketing. And once you link it, the data starts getting fetched from the backend system into the CRM system. Now, at this stage, we have configured the system to connect, the Zoho CRM system to connect to the Google AdWords system. But before that, before seeing the power of the full integration, we need to do a few more steps. One is that we need to enable the Zoho CRM tracking code. And second, we also need to place a hidden element in the form field that you might be using for capturing leads or contacts. Now, when you click on the first option, the Zoho CRM tracking code option, we will be showing you the screen, and this particular section, which is highlighted in yellow, is the code that you need to be copying and pasting into every page that you might be having on your website. Now, why do we do this? We do this because we want to track the first point at which Google AdWords resulted in a landing on our site. And if the traffic did come through Google AdWords onto the site, we need to capture it, and we capture it in a cookie. And when we do this, the second option, that is about the Zoho CRM hidden element, Now, this is a very important step. Lots of our customers apparently are facing issues because of not being able to do the second step properly. Now, a case in point here, one thing I need to re-emphasize here is that you need to do both these steps mandatorily. If any one of them is not done properly or is not being done at all, then this integration will not work. Now, let me repeat again. So the first thing you need to do is to put the Zoho CRM tracking code, which is this format is highlighted in yellow, in all pages of your site. Secondly, you need to also put this, that is the hidden field for existing web forms. So when the page in which you have a web form for capturing lead or contact details must have this particular code in it. And once you have both these setups, only then data gets sent successfully along with the Google contextual data in terms of the ad ID, the click ID, the other attributes for the Google data gets stored or passed on to the CRM system. And finally, you must enable this thing called as the appending the Google AdWords script tag. Now let us see a landing page. For the ethnic interior keywords, when someone, this is the page for the landing page for the ethnic interiors keyword. So when someone clicks on an ad for that, this is the page the person lands on. So this is the ad that you had seen earlier. And please note, this is what the person searches for, the ethnic interiors. When the person searches for ethnic interiors, he gets to see this specific ad, which is the ad which is mapped to this specific keywords in the AdWords section, in the AdWords tool, in the ads section in the AdWords tool. Pardon me. Now, when the person fills on this information, c.stone at Zoho Corp, company, so on and so forth, that information now gets stored here. Charles Stone, c.stone at zohocorp.com, and it's coming from AdWords. So this happens because we did the linkage by giving us the credentials of the AdWords system in this step, and then by enabling the Zoho CRM tracking code and also enabling the Zoho CRM hidden element. Please let me repeat again, these two steps are mandatory so that the data gets captured successfully in the Zoho CRM system. And what happens when the data gets filled up in this specific landing page form and the person arrives by clicking on a Google AdWords ad, the data gets stored in the leads module, but also you have more information. So the details of the click type, the ad network, did it come from the search network or from the display network? What was the keyword that generated this particular sign up to happen? What is the ad group name, the device type, so on and so forth gets captured here. Additionally, the GCL ID, which is the Google Click ID, gets passed to the system simply because we have made this secret sauce, that is by enabling auto tagging, by linking the AdWords system with those CRM systems. And this information is very useful because now you know what is the ad that generated this particular lead, and you can further optimize on this. Now, if you notice, this part isn't for conversion failure. I'll explain this in a subsequent slide. Now, let me give a brief detail about what you see in the CRM system once, other than the lead information that you saw. So here, we see the account name. It can be any of the products that you may be using in the AdWords setup. It can be any of the campaigns that you are using on the AdWords setup. So for account name, it gives a brief summary. It gives us that this thing had 1,230 impressions, gathered 239 clicks. It created 37 leads or contacts, depending which particular sales methodology you follow. You have a leads. Directly a lead gets created or directly a contact gets created. The number gets stored here. Of the data, of the number of leads who get or contacts who get signed up to the system, how many of them actually converted into a sale, what was the value of the sale, what was the cost incurred in order to get the sale, and what is the return of investment as a result of this specific transaction. Now, this was the screen in which we see data at a campaign level. Now let us go a little more detail. Now, the interior design, this is the ad group level details. So now you see the much more finer grain detail information available in this specific screen. You can also see the keyword level information now. What was the keyword that generated the lead to be actually, what was the keyword that generated the ad to be shown, what was the, how many impressions and how many clicks and how many leads got generated. You can also see further information at the reports level. This is a set of reports that you get to see. These are already inbuilt for you. You can see the closed potential by campaign, the campaigns by industry, by lead status, by country, so on and so forth. Now, it's important that you understand this because it gives you a very quick view of your return of investment. You get to know which country you need to focus more. You get to know which device you should focus more on, whether a campaign in a specific country is doing better than one in a different country, and where to optimize your spend. All right, I'm having a technical difficulty here. All right, so let me now go back and to the slide. So what really happened? As I said initially, the question was not being answered because there was a break in the flow of information from the AdWords system to the CRM system. But now we have fixed the flow of information. So the baton, which was earlier dropped, has now been passed on. Now the information flow happens not just on the leads module, but through the leads module to the contacts module, the accounts module, and to the potentials module. So the information relay continues through the CRM system till the logical conclusion that the sale is closed. But does this complete the cycle? It does not complete the cycle because at the last stage, the information should also be passed back to Google AdWords, and only then the system completes the cycle. Now, this last stage of passing information from the potentials to the Google AdWords system is known as offline conversion. Now, if you remember, in the earlier stage, I had shown a slide where the data was being mapped to the, I'll just show you the screen. Here. It was called as export conversions back to Google AdWords. Now, this is what makes the cycle complete. So here, we have mapped the terms Zoho CRM leads or contacts, Zoho CRM lead qualification, and Zoho CRM sales. Now, these are the fields or information which is being sent back to Google at this stage in order to make the cycle complete. All right. So this is called as the offline conversion tracking. Now, it's very important to understand why we need this offline conversion tracking. It's important because it gives us a complete lead to deal picture within Google AdWords. So historically, Google did have the ability for someone to send data back to Google, but it was much more manual process. I'll show that in the subsequent slides, but let me emphasize why we need this. So typical situations where in marketing or typically how a company would function is that the marketing department would either be using an agency to run its lead generation activities. So how would that agency know whether what they are doing is actually generating value for the client company? So in that case, when I use this Zoho CRM AdWords integration, the agency gets a complete view, a complete lead-to-deal picture. On the CRM side of things, this is on the client side of things. The client gets to see a complete lead-to-deal picture. The client gets to understand better his ROI. He is now able to better allocate or apportion his marketing budget based on completed sales, not just on lead gen data as was the case earlier. That is, on the time when we did not have a complete cycle, the data that marketing or the client would apportion to marketing was more based on conversion data, but not on completed sales data. But now, because we have integrated these last steps, we are now able to see a complete data. Now, how was it done earlier? Google had given this ability where the person would click on an ad, land on the landing page, fill up the form, and then a sign-up gets completed, a lead gets generated. Then someone had to manually collect the data and upload it back to Google AdWords in order to make the process complete. Now imagine if you're getting thousands of leads in a day. That's very common in the industry. So it requires a great amount of discipline to ensure that every single sign-up gets tracked in an Excel sheet along with the information that is available for the particular lead. And then you fill it and send it back to Google AdWords as a file upload. Hoping everything goes fine, you finally get the complete picture. In other words, it's something like this. All right. So the ad gets clicked, the person fills up the form, someone tracks every sign up which happens, uploads it back to Google AdWords by matching the ID, and then you get to see the complete picture in AdWords. But that is quite a lot of effort. And by the way, we just automated steps 4 and 5. So there is no longer any need for someone to do a manual upload or tracking of data. So this increases the productivity. There is no manual intervention required. And yet, we are benefited on both ends. One, on the AdWords side of things, we're able to see the complete picture. On the CRM side of things, we're able to see the complete picture. And one gets a better understanding of the system and hence is able to make better calls based on not just lead in, but on completed sales. Now, this is the data which I had showed you earlier. Now, you can choose to determine at what level you want to send data back to Google. You can do it at the time of lead being created or the contact being created, which is mapped to the field, the Zoho CRM leads for contacts. You can do it at the stage when the lead is qualified and converted into a higher level of sales, depending on your sales process. Or you can also do it at the time a potential is declared as 1. And this is where you see these 3 fields being shown in the AdWords system. So this is a screen in which you are configuring the leads or the fields to be mapped to the AdWords system for offline conversion tracking within the CRM system. And these are the fields that you see back in the AdWords system. So now this is what gives you a complete picture. So here, we're able to see the number of days it took for the sale to be completed, the total number of repeat or unique purchases, total number of conversions, and the value of conversions. Now, you can choose which particular data you want to send back to Google. As of now, we are giving just 3 options. These are the names that we have mapped to the system so that there isn't any issue in these are the 3 fields that we have mapped with the Google system. Yes, you can edit it, but we strongly urge you not to edit it, because in case someone does edit the data transfer, there is a breakage in the data transfer. So we recommend that you do not edit these names at any point in time. Now, what are the other things that you need to keep in mind while using this? One is that the sync will happen once every 24 hours only. Second is that right now we aren't allowing cross-account conversion tracking. So if you have an MCC, if you have an account, and you have multiple MCCs, then we do not allow cross-MCC account level tracking. The sync happens only once in a day. If there are multiple services in the system, as of now, only the first service will get tracked. We are trying to make it more robust, and we hope to come up with new variations, new additions to it in the subsequent few months. So those were the basic pointers which you need to keep in mind before you make the thing while you go live. Rather, you can always go live, but just need to keep this in mind. There are 2 important things in this. One is you need to mandatorily ensure that the Zoho CRM script is added in order to trace whether the data is coming in from AdWords or not. And secondly, you need to have the data, the hidden element script also being added to the page having the web forms. Without that, the entire flow would actually break. And just to recap, one is the marketing challenge is that the data that marketing generates may not be the one which sales follows up. So in order to do that, we need to have something which links data between the marketing information and the one that sales is following. That is what addressed in the Zoho solution category, where we link the information that is passed from the Google AdWord system back into the CRM system. And then once that is being done, we push the data that we have got into the CRM system back to Google in order to make the cycle complete. Now, the data being pushed back to Google, this process is called as the offline conversion tracking. As of now, we have mapped it to just 3 fields. The 3 fields are, one is at the time of the lead or contact being created. The second is when the lead or contact or lead is actually qualified and passed on to the next stage. And third is when the potential is actually closed or closed won, depending on how your sales process is. Some pointers in this. One, this process has 3 specific points that you need to remember in order to make it work. One is that you have to mandatorily put the Zoho CRM tracking script on every page of your website. Second, you need to put the hidden elements tracking on every form where you actually track the data that is being that you want to capture in the CRM system. And once you have these 2, you get a complete information about the source of your lead in the CRM system. Finally, the data gets synced only once in 24 hours with the Google AdWord system. And we urge you not to edit the field mappings that we have done, because if you do editing of the field name, the data would not be passed properly, and there would be a failure. We have also reports which tells us details about the failure of data being pushed back to Google. So there will be, suppose you are getting say 100 conversions in AdWords, and you're able to say convert into sales 50 of them. But at some point in time, it's possible that when you push 50 of them back to Google AdWords, only 30 get pushed properly. So we need to have a report for that. We have a report already inbuilt for you to address that specific issue. That report tells you details about where the issue was, what was the specific click ID where the issue arose, and you can cross-check that with your marketing department to understand if there is something which you could do to fix it. So these are the specifics that you have that you should have in mind when you work with the system. Do feel free to ask any questions that you might be having, and we will do our best in order to answer them. Those who have any questions, do feel free to ask, and we will be answering them as best as we can. There was a question about the 3 fields which are mapped. That's a correction. I was wrong in the way I put it. They are not 3 fields. They are technically 3 conversion names of conversion names of conversions that we send back to Google. It's not a field. It's just a name of a conversion that is sent back to Google. I want to clarify that. Just to repeat again, the conversion names that we are currently supporting are these 3, which is the Zoho CRM leads or contacts, the Zoho CRM lead qualification, and Zoho CRM sales. Now these are mapped to each stage of your sales cycle. You may choose to enable them, all of them, or any one of them, or depending on what information you want to send back